Okay, these three knobs here, top one is the indirect cooler, which cools the engine. There's a auxiliary cooler behind the panel here, which pumps water through the tube, which cools the engine coolant, which is in another tube. So that's for that. That's for the engine cooler. This is pump bypass, which will let the water bypass the pump, go back to tank. And the auxiliary pony pump, we don't have to worry about that. That's not hooked up right now. So this is something we have to worry about.
For normal operations, would they be using any of those valves?
Yes, you'd be using these two here under normal operations.
Okay.
Bypass and intercooler. On hot days, you want to use the intercooler. That will help cool the engine down, the truck engine. And on the pump bypass, that will keep the pump cool to a certain degree, and that will let the water bypass through the pump back to the tank and circulate it that way.
Okay. Next.
Okay, next we have, this is the foam refill. To refill the foam, you need to put this on refill. Hit this button here, and what you're going to have is a stream of water coming out. And what's that do? What it's doing is taking the bladder, and the bladder's filling up, and what it's doing is pushing all the water out of the tank, because the water is what comes into the tank, which squeezes the bladder to make the foam go into the system. So it's doing the reverse thing. When you're filling the bladder, which is now displacing the water out. So when it's done, the stream of water will come down to a trickle. That's where you know it's full. So then you just stop, turn it off, and you're done. Same thing on the other side. That will do the same thing for the other tank. So then this is your proportioning valve, which you have from 1 all the way up to 3. So you can go from 0.1 to 3.0 for foam distribution for your amount of foam you want to use.
And our foam right now is 1% foam, both
1%, yeah.
A and B.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both A and B. Okay. The hose reel air supply is not in service on this truck. The compressor is not working, so we don't have to worry about this knob. Right hand bumper. This also we have to worry about on this rig. It's not in service. So these two here you don't have to worry about. The one down here also don't worry about because of the compressor is not working.
Okay.
So these don't have to worry about. Hose reel. This is to charge the hose reel. Pull out to let the water in, push in to shut it off. This is the right hand bumper discharge for right hand bumper front. This one here is tank to fill. Tank to fill is used to fill the tank. Also you can use it to circulate the water a little bit faster if you want to keep it a lot cooler.
How big a line is that? Do you know that comes off the pump and goes back in the tank? Is that 1.5 inches?
It should be a 2-inch line.
2-inch line?
Some of them have 1.5 inches, some of them will have a 2-inch line.
So it'll fill it for pretty quick.
Pretty quick, yeah, depending on the manufacturer, yeah. Left-hand bumper discharge is for your left-hand bumper. Rear pre-connect, that will be up in here. Is your rear pre-connect. Let's see, rear pre-connect bleeder, to bleed the line, just open it up.
That's just a drain valve?
Just to drain it, yeah.
Okay.
So just quarter turn, you don't have to reef on it, no reefing, please.
Okay.
Okay, compressor overheat, hydraulic oil overheat, this stuff here, don't worry about, not hooked up, all this here. We don't have to worry about that right now on this one. That's not in use. Your relief valve. The relief valve should be all the way out. You should turn this out and leave it that way if you're not using it. That's way the spring doesn't get a memory. You don't want it to have a memory. So leave that off in a low position. So when you do use it, you can turn it on. You can set it to what you want to set it for. You're going to watch your gauge, your lights here. You want it in the closed position. When the guy on the nozzle has it open, you want to adjust it then maybe crank it up a little bit Then when he shuts the water off at the nozzle, it should open up and bypass. And that's all it's doing, is bypassing the water so it doesn't get hot and doesn't, build up and
Is there
fracture something.
any need for the crews to use the flush valve
The,
right above the on-off for the relief valve? It says relief valve flush. Is that a maintenance item, or is that something they would actually use?
that's kind of a maintenance item. That's something they wouldn't really need to use.
Okay.
I think if we were drafting out of a pond or something, where we got a lot of rock, a lot of mud, or a lot
Yeah.
of sand, and there should be a screen behind here that should be cleanable. You should be able to take it out and clean the screen.
Tank to pump?
Tank to pump. Tank to pump. Pull this out. Push it in to shut it off. Out means water's coming from the tank to the pump. You want to engage that once you put the pump in gear. Just